Okay, here's another polynomial example, and this is how we use this polynomial program for the TI84. And this one's a good one because if you watch these in order, I've said, you know, don't count the number of terms. When it asks you to input the number of terms, you have to take the largest exponent there is in the term that you're working with, and then add 1 to it. And this will show you what I mean, right? So we have this kind of nasty expression, and if you don't like polynomials, this will, you know, be kind of nasty for you. But let's look at this one here. This is our first, and it's x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6. Now, your first instinct, and if I said how many, you know, what's the number of terms, would be to say there's 3. There's x cubed, there's x squared, and there's minus 6. But you don't do that for this program. For this program, what you have to do is take the highest level of exponent, and in this case it's x cubed, right? It's x to the power of 3, and you add 1 to it. And then it'll become clear why we do that. So the highest exponent we have is 3, and we're going to add 1 to it and say the number of terms we have is 4. And then it'll ask you for the exponent, the coefficient of the term that has the exponent 3. Well, it's x cubed, so the exponent, I keep saying the exponent, the coefficient is 1, right? The number in front of the x is just 1. We just don't write it. Now it's asking for the coefficient of the x term that's to the power of 2, and that would be plus 2. Easy enough. But here's the thing. Then it asks you for the x term. The exponent 1, that means 1x. And we don't have an x term. And that's why. So we put 0. We don't have one. And that's why you have to not count the actual number of terms, but count the highest exponent and add 1, because this the program that's been developed for this one, you have to put a 0. You have to put a kind of placeholder. We don't have an x term. We have x cubed, and oops, we have x cubed, we have x squared, but we don't have just an x term, so we have to put in a 0. And then the next term is just the coefficient on its own. It doesn't have an x with it or anything, and that's negative 6. And then we go to the second term. Now for here, what we do, we're going to subtract these expressions, right? So for this program, we don't have to distribute that negative, it's negative 2. Generally, if you're doing this manually, you're just doing it without the calculator, you would have to multiply all these terms by negative 2. But since we are going to use this program and use this as a minus term, we don't have to. We can just multiply everything by 2 and it'll be absolutely fine. We don't have to change a sign or anything. So what that will give us is 2x to the power of 4 minus 2 times negative 3x squared will be 6x squared cubed. Let's try to talk and do math at the same time. I'm just not terribly good at it. And then we've got 2 times 2x squared, so that'll be 4x squared. Then we've got 2 times x, so that'll be plus 2x. And then we've got 2 times negative 1, so that'll be negative 2. So we don't have to change any signs because we are going to actually use this sign when we subtract the 2 terms. So let's bash on. So what do we have to do? We have to put in the number of terms, and the number of terms will be 1 plus the highest exponent. Highest exponent is 4, so 1 plus that is 5. Then it'll ask us for the coefficient of the term that has the exponent 4, and that's simply just 2. It'll ask us for the coefficient of the x term that has the exponent 3, and that is negative 6. The coefficient of the exponent of the x term that has the exponent 2, and that will be 4. this exponent and coefficient thing is doing my head in. And then it says the coefficient of the exponent 1, so it's just the x term, and the coefficient of the x term is 2. And then when it says exponent 0, that just means what happened there? I think something's happened there. Because it shouldn't have exponent 1 and then exponent 0. So we hit enter and we say we want to subtract. I don't think this is going to come out right. Let's see. Oh, it does. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so then it does descending order. So the minus 2 will be minus 2x to the power of 4. The 7 will correspond to plus 7x cubed. Negative 2 will be negative 2x squared. The other negative 2 is negative 2x, and then the very last one is just the coefficients, negative 4. And that corresponds with, it goes on for a while, it corresponds with g, and that's actually the answer. So this program it's got a couple of little rules that you have to learn, but not very much. And if you really hate polynomials and are not very confident with them, then, you know, it would take you probably 15 minutes to get comfortable with this program and know that, you know, what you have to do to make it come out right, you know, might well be worth your while. So yeah, that was a kind of nasty polynomial subtraction that was handled perfectly by this little program.